So hello everyone, here I am with today's The Hindu editorial of 12th October 2021. Today's article is read as The Next Step is a Constitutional Right to Health, and it is written by Kailash Satyarthi, who is an Indian human rights activist and also has received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 alongside Malala Yousafzai. And he says that presently any investment in healthcare has failed to translate into a sense of security and sanctuary for many Indians. So here is saying that any step that has been made or the focus that has been given to health sector due to this novel coronavirus is still not enough, and it hasn't created a sense of security amongst the citizens, and they are still worried about their health. And he also demands or keeps forwards the idea of the right to health, as we already know that we have right to education, right to life, and many other things. So he also poses some focus and importance to right to health. So now let us have a quick look at the vocabulary words. The first one is brevity. It means concise and exact use of words in writing or speech. So here it's talking about to be direct and not go a long way or be more elaborative, but just be crisp and clear and to the point. Aggravated is of an offence made more serious by attendant circumstances. So an offence has been made more serious due to several circumstances and events that followed. Here it shouldn't be S, it's taboo, that means a social or religious custom prohibiting or restricting a particular practice, forbidding associations with a particular person, place, or thing. So here it's basically talking about some restrictions that have on an individual due to the tradition, the custom, or the religion it follows. So this can be in the form of not doing specific deeds or not meeting or not talking to specific people or forming bonds with specific people. Testament is something that serves as a sign or evidence of a specified fact, event, or quality. So here, this can be explained by a very good example that when you go in a court, they ask for an evidence for whatever you speak or put forward. So you need something that backs your whatever you're saying. So that's called testament. That is an evidence or a proof. Okay, that's an evidence or a proof. Okay. Now, before we move on, let's have a quick glance or a brief intro of Kailash Satyarthi. So he's an Indian children's rights activist who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. Following the tradition of Mahatma Gandhi, Indian activist Kailash Satyarthi has waged a peaceful struggle to stop children being exploited as labor instead of attending schools. And he's also the founder of Bachpan Bachao Andolan. So he basically works for young kids who are not able to go to school, who do not have facilities, and are uh, prone to do bond labor or child labor, okay, and are victims of child trafficking. So the article starts as the brevity of memory is often blessing and even necessary for our collective healing from suffering. But the lessons we learn from suffering are possibly even more crucial. As our people continue to face individual and collective griefs as a result of novel coronavirus pandemic, it is moral responsibility of our leaders to look ahead and learn the necessary lessons. So here it's saying that whatever is stored in our memory is it's very hard to forget all those things, and it is very hard to get uh, get up and heal ourselves from the suffering that has been stored or we have gone through in the past. Okay, so you're saying that now that all the Indians or all the people across the globe have faced so much problem due to this novel coronavirus and have lost many of their loved ones. So there's a lot of grief amongst themselves, and so a very crucial steps needs to be taken by the government, and it need to learn specific necessary lessons. And now he mentions all the lessons that he thinks that the government and the official body need to take a place for this right. So he'll start talking about a right, and he thinks that this right should be included. The lesson here is the need for constitutional right to health for all. The pandemic has exposed, aggravated the cracks in our healthcare systems, and this is a lesson we cannot afford to ignore and not learn. So it's saying that We also need to have right to health for all, despite the caste they belong or the religion, race, anything. They all need to have right to health. And the second thing is that this pandemic has aggravated, that it has widened or has shown clearly the health system of India, and it has made a problem for the government because now they have to pay clear focus on the health sector, because otherwise it's going to be very dangerous for the government currently in power. In June this year, I called on the Parliament of India to take immediate measures to make necessary amendments to the Constitution to declare health as a fundamental right. So it's saying that Kailash Satyarthi himself called to the Parliament of India to take immediate actions regarding this and to make right to health and a fundamental right. I was reassured with positive responses from parliamentarians across party lines who have supported this call. Now the time has come to make this a reality for India so our people never have to undergo suffering that they did. And when he called, he got positive responses from all the party members, not only BJP or Congress, from all the party members that were there in the parliament during that time. And now he thinks that now this has to be brought into reality, and he does not want the suffering that all the Indians, all the citizens have gone through in this pandemic to go through again in the near future or the upcoming future. And the second is through the eyes of citizens. The primary question raised is, what will a constitutional right to health mean for a citizen of India? So here is saying that the most common question that's arising is, what does right to health for an Indian citizen mean? I will try to explain this through the lens of three categories of citizens, that is farmers, unorganized sector workers, and women and children. So he is going to explain this from the viewpoint of three different sectors of the Indian society, that is farmers, unorganized sector workers, and women and children. Farmers are the primary protectors of our fundamental right to life. Yet, the majority remains at loose end when it comes to their own rights and well being and that of their families. So it's saying that the farmers who provide us with all the food and grains and ensure that no one goes hungry in the country or in the globe, across the globe, at the same time they are the ones whose right are not at place and they are being violated. There are many rights that they do not have, and also if it comes to their family's well-being or their well-being, that's not maintained. Without an anchor during times of severe illness or disease, generations of children of small and landless farmers and unorganized migrants and seasonal workers are thrown into bondage and debt by having to pay for the medical cost of their limited earning. So it's saying that whenever any of the members of their family is ill, it's a very difficult situation for them because their earning is very little and the cost of the hospitals and treatment is very high, and that's why they have to face a lot of problems. So we know that the people belonging to the unorganized sector or who are farmers, they have very low income. But when someone of their family is ill and they have to go for the treatment, the cost or the fees of the hospitals, the doctors, it's very high, and that's why they have to take loans. And sometimes to fulfill or to repay those loans, their children have to work for those people, and sometimes have to do bondage labor, and this way their childhood is destroyed and they do not have access to proper education and a healthy childhood, and instead have to spend their lives fulfilling or repaying debts in very bad conditions. Employment benefit schemes do not reach them, and the ones that do are mostly on paper. The implementation of these rights to health can provide simple, transparent, and quality health care to those who are most in need of such care. So it's saying that people are in very need of these implementation and reforms in the health sector of India. So there are some employment benefit schemes for the poor, but they are mostly on paper and do not actually reach to the wider mass of the farmers or the unorganized sector workers. So also, if you look at the health schemes, they are not completely available to them. We see very few cases where people are able to access and enjoy the benefit of these schemes. Women bear a disproportionate burden of the gaps in our healthcare system. So now he has talked about farmers, and now he's talking about the second one, women and children. The taboos and patriarchal expectations surrounding them, their health lead to immense avoidable suffering. So there's a even bigger problem for the women because of the patriarchal society that exists in India, and the taboos, that is the restrictions that has been posed on them due to the tradition, by the tradition and the customs. In addition, social and economic challenges prevent them from freely and openly accessing the little care that is available. And also the little care that is available for women, it is very hard for them to access it due to the economic and social customs of the society. A health to right, a right to health would mean that services reach the women where and when she needs them. So, a right to health would mean that whenever a woman needs some help, the help would reach then and there immediately. A large number of children who belong to the poorest and most marginalized communities of our country grow up working in hazardous situations, be it fields, mines, brick mills, or factories. They are either not enrolled in school or not able to attend it due to the pressing financial needs of the family, often because of unexpected out of pocket medical expenses. So it's saying it's relating to the same circumstance that that he had mentioned earlier. So children who belong to marginalized communities or poor families who are economically poor and backward, they often have to do bondage labor or child labor in fields, mines, or factories where the conditions, working conditions, are very bad, they're hazardous, and they affect the health of the children and also ruin their childhood. And they often do this because they have to repay the loans that they have taken for any health expenses. And this also violates another very crucial rights of the children, that is right to education, that they're not able to go to schools, making it safer for children. My organization has rescued over 1 lakh such children from child labor, bondage labor, and trafficking. When rescued, these children are ridden with complex health impacts of working, primarily tuberculosis, skin diseases, eyesight impairment, and malnutrition, beside the substantial mental health impact. So Kailash Satyarthi has said that in his life he has already rescued over 1 lakh such children who have been doing bondage labor, child labor, or have been the victim of child trafficking. And these, when they found these children, they were often uh, diagnosed with tuberculosis, skin diseases, or eyesight impairment physically. If you look, on the other hand, they are mentally very much tortured and mentally very much disturbed, and like their mental condition is not good. These children have been denied a safety net of early childhood care and protection, the consequences of which are felt for a lifetime. So these children did not have a very good childhood, uh, and they were denied the safety net of early childhood and protection. So these children did not have the right of a healthy childhood, and they'll face or they will feel the lack of it or throughout their lifetime. The right to health will help transition the children in exploitative condition into a safer future. So this right to health will ensure that children have a safe future and a good childhood, and do not have to do bondage labor or childhood labor in order to repay the loans that have been taken for medical conditions. A constitutional right to health will transform not only the health and well being of our people, but will act as a leap for the economic and developmental progress of the nation. He says that Right to Life will not only transform and make better the life of the children and ensure a good future for the youth of India, but also it will lead to economic and development progression of the nation. He says this because when children are provided with good education, it is sure that they will get higher or good jobs and will earn good amount of money, and that means we'll have more literate people in our country, and this will lead to economic and development progress. Also, that when the children will be provided with better healthcare facilities, they will not become a liability and will be able to work to their full potential and serve the nation, and hence provide or add more to the GDP of India. Presently, any investment in healthcare fails to translate into a sense of security and sanctuary for the people of India. Instead, a complex and often corrupt means of assessing even existing healthcare only adds to the suffering instead of elevating it. Although this pandemic has been a very bad experience for all of us, but also it has had a very positive influence or impact on the health sector, because of this pandemic, the government and the officials have paid a close attention on the health system of India, and that has been improved. But although it's not up to the mark, but there have been made improvements and changes in it. And do even after so much of efforts or transformation made in this pandemic in the health sector, still people are not confident about the health sector and are still worried about their health. The vision of Ayushman Bharat will be strengthened with the constitutional right to health. So, this right to health will further also strengthen the Ayushman Bharat mission that has been started and aims to provide low cost treatment to the poor and economically backward classes. The immediate financial security that will come with the constitutional right to health will be seen as a measurable impact on family savings, greater investment and job creation on one hand, and in the long term, emotional, psychological, and social security of the people. So, this step by the government can have a very major impact on the society of India. People will have more savings uh, because now they'll have access to healthcare facilities at low cost. And when there'll be more hospitals opened and more beds, then there'll be more jobs created and more employment will increase. Also, at the same time, this is going to have a very good impact, like long term impact on the psychological, emotional conditions of the children and as well as the grown ups. As a legacy, the world is taking steps, both big and small, in recovering from the pandemic, the foresight in policy and investment. So the world is taking a lot of steps to recover and fight back this pandemic and to maintain all the things. India must not lag behind. The right to free and compulsory education was arguably one of the most valuable legacies of earlier government. So, when many governments across the globe are taking steps, making policies, reforming, and making better their health sector, India shouldn't lag behind. And we also need to give it as much importance as the previous government had given to the right to education in India. The true testament of bold leadership lies in its timely, compassionate, and courageous decisions for the greater good. A constitutional amendment to introduce a right to health for India can be legacy of this government. So the true identity of bold and good leaders is to take good decisions and that also timely. For instance, if you take, there's a very famous quote that justice delayed is justice denied. So what is the point of giving justice 100 years later when the man is already dead? So that's why time is very important, and good leaders need to bring good policies timely and not after a lot of time. So the parliamentarians, officials, and the government bodies need to give space to this right to health a place in the Indian constitution through an amendment. Kailash Satyarthi won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014, is an advocate of children's rights. He is also the founder of the Global Campaign for Education and the Laureates and Leaders for Children. So thank you everyone.